So today I have a huge case related to digital identity. So basically till now we have considered some use cases related to finance sector, supply chain management, and food sector and different private sector use cases we have considered. Now I would like to talk on some scope of the blockchain technology in government. So we know that most of the countries are moving towards the a kind of IT solutions for different purposes. But still, if we talk particularly about the India, lots of the changes is going on, but still lots of the work is still manual, and lots of the paperwork is required whenever some citizen wants some services from the government offices, and which leads a certain kind of well organized corruption. So blockchain technology can provide a very transparent ecosystem where all these things can be removed. For example, we have a very positive result of using of Aadhaar card in several government schemes where government provides some benefit to citizens directly in their account. So similarly, if we adopt some blockchain technology kind of thing, then it can change drastically and the performance of the government system will be increased. So it can be used in defense sector for more transparent deal between different entities. It can be used in a kind of government financing body. It can be used in we can say maintaining of the digital identity, which is the use case we have for this lecture. So today I am going to concentrate on that digital identity and several other sectors we have where we can use this digital identity, and it is more or less similar to we have talked about in the use cases related to the private sector. Certain kind of compliances is needed in government sector, so all those things are important to understand. So let's start this digital identity. What is digital identity? We know that suppose I want to go in a bank, then they ask so many alternative documents for identity purpose. So you can use your PAN card, you can use your Aadhaar card, voter ID, driving license. So all these are the identity proof of a citizen, which is used for the identity for different purpose. That means for a particular application, we have certain identity. So this is the situation we have. So people are known by their identity, and these are some attributes, maybe some other attributes, maybe. And we know that any individual don't have any control over the information that compromises the identity. We know that lots of the gossip was related to Aadhaar, and it was in the news in 2018 that the Aadhaar data has been compromised, and lots of the things. It was not true, but yes, there was so many gossips, and it was a political agenda also for someone. So if we use blockchain technology, then this type of thing will not be possible. So identity fraud, individuals don't have any control about the information that compromises their identity. And if we will not provide a transparent ecosystem, then definitely anyone can raise any issue without any sufficient background. So we can avoid all those gossips by using blockchain technology. So identity fraud, we have no visibility over the identity attributes related to authentication, authorization and verification. So these are the thing which is required. Now, as I was talking that suppose I want to go abroad, and if I am in a foreign country, then definitely my identity will be my passport. If I moving on road and I am driving, then definitely the driving license will be my identity. For voting purpose, the voter card, Aadhaar card is the most useful identity proof which is used nowadays in India for different purposes. Banking passbook sometimes used for some verification of citizens. So we can see these number of PAN card, which is not listed here, PAN card. So this much of identity we use for different application. So the concept of digital identity is, why not we should have a single identity, and that identity can be used for all these purposes. So this is the very basic idea, and for that blockchain can provide a solution. And it's have a very broad scope, and I will cover in coming slides. So the very idea is digital identity, that is single sign-on, that is in short we say SSO. So single identity for various purposes, not like that for a single purpose, different identity, for another purpose, different identity, not like that. So no need to maintain multiple identity documents. And it is conceptualized in software industry nowadays. And this is the, we can say a kind of solution will be, we say SSO. And for different purposes, it can be used. The control of those data will be visible to the owner of that data, and the privacy will be maintained. It can be authorized. It can be validated that whether this data is used by some third party for identity purpose. So one password to access multiple services. That is, you have just to you have to uh, have the password of that login, and you will be the actual giving consent for use of that data. So the idea is the record keeping agency will collect those data, and this identity database for different purposes can be public sector. Some mobile company can be used for the verification of that identity. Some bank offices. So a kind of decentralized application will be. So self-sovereign identity, that is a privacy control. Individuals should have full control and ownership of their identity information, which will be provided. Individual can control the usage of that, as I said earlier, and after the giving consent, then only it will be used by any third party. So the question is whether it will be the burden on at individual user. So definitely not. So it is a distributed trust model, basically. Multiple different vendors can access this identity profile for different purposes. However, individuals should agree on the usage of that. So the user will give, the individual, the owner of that information will give the consent for that. So until and unless the individual or the owner give his consent, if he will not agree, then it will not be used by anyone. So every identity attribute may not be accessible to all. So certain attributes which is required for that third party, that particular field of information may be allowed by the owner. So it not will be the case that just giving consent for all the information stored on blockchain. So certain field, a subset of fields can be given permission, and certain information can be hidden. So blockchain in identity management, as I said, that the very idea will be user centric, that identity uses the consent is needed, and overall control for all those identity attributes and the identity profile will be controlled by the user. Automated and real-time verification of identity is ensured through some smart contract, and this smart contract can verify the identity without revealing the identity data. Sometimes it happens that we need just yes or no kind of result. So for that, it is not needed to provide the accessing to all those documents. It may be that some third party asks certain queries, and correspondingly smart contract receive that query, internally process, cross check, and just respond yes or no, which is sufficient one for the third party, and it can be stored on that, and it will be it can be used as a signature, and it can be verifiable. So no need to share all those private information to all. So no one can tamper with identity information of individuals. We know that on blockchain technology, the data is stored in immutable fashion. So it will be not possible for anyone to change or alter all those data. So very quickly, I am going to cover this real solution we have, that is a distributed ledger platform for identity management, that is Hyperledger ND. So suppose you want to have some degree transcript for applying a job, then and want to have then you can simply share identity for college verification. Then a distributed identifier is generated and shared with the college. So for that, you can use this as application. College will verify this and establish the connection. Indy will call this as a pair-wise relationship, each having a separate distributed identifier. And here, a trust anchors, that pair-wise relationship are added to the ledger by the anchor after verification of that. And for that, certain consensus is used. Note here that trust anchors neither know the actual sender and not her college. Privacy is preserved here. This DID is not the self-sovereign identity of the sender, say Alice. Is the identity card for college users, and trust anchor will check that this ID card is not for. This collection of all this DID can be thought of as a self-sovereign identity of the sender, say Alice. Once the consensus is reached, the connection can be accepted and information can be shared. Now, it creates a connection with the office with a new date. Suppose you want to track. For another one, if you are applying for a job after getting verified by your degree, then this type the transcript can be embedded as a part of this. Then receives employment certificate. Once the office selects you for that job, then you will receive it and you can get job. So this is a one use you can see for. So no need to verify all those your degree document. So all these things can be verified on the blockchain. So I'm skipping all these slides. Now you can see this Hyperledger ND use this Plenum consensus, that is a distributed ledger platform, and it is similar to smart contract but tuned for verifying digital identity. And here RPFT algorithm is used, that is written by the time fault tolerance algorithm for having the consensus. So this is the reference you can explore if you want. Some other startups we have for the same purpose. So this is a very important use case here. Blockchain can play a major role. So enough for today. In next talk, I will take some another use case related to government.